Hey, good Tuesday evening. How's everybody? Welcome to the Windy City Block by Block Real Estate Show. And my name is Dawn Haley, and I am your host. And I am always so happy to bring some relevant information about the real estate industry or anything that I think would be interesting for you if you're considering buying or selling now or in the near future. So, how's everybody doing? Yeah, it's a lot going on. So, hopefully, in spite of all the craziness that's going on, you can still focus and make some decisions that particularly about real estate that you want to do. And in spite of what's going on with COVID and the economy, people are still buying and selling. The market seems to be holding up right now, and sellers are feeling good about putting their property on the market. And buyers seems to be kind of a war going on there are properties out there that you really like, but there are probably two or three other people that are interested too. So there's a lot of dual or second two or three offers coming in on properties at the same time. So thank goodness for us. And we just have to, as real estate professionals, we just have to keep doing our job. And regardless of what, we just got to make sure we're looking out for your best interest. So let's talk about what's been going on. It's been, I've had, I didn't do my show last week. I had another show that I do about health, but some interesting things happen. And I always like to talk about those interesting things first. But first, before I do that, let's talk about what's going on in the market, because I did say the market is doing pretty good right now. So let's talk about the health of some areas that are going on. I typically deal with the townships that I deal with is Thornton Township. And Thornton Township deals with a lot of different communities, and I'll just run them off real fast. Thornton Township is Blue Island, Burnham, Calumet City. Well, some parts of Blue Island, not all parts of Blue Island. Dalton, East Hazelcrest, Glenwood, Harvey, Hazelcrest, Homewood, some parts of Homewood, Lansing, Markham, Phoenix, Posen, Riverdale, South Holland, and Thornton. There's also a community called Thornton. And so let's look at what's going on in terms of Thornton Township. I'm going to pull up this. I'm going to cover myself a little bit, but Thornton Township, as you see, the market is still pretty strong and it's going up. So for those areas that I just mentioned, that's a good indicator that the markets are still strong. Of course, some areas a little different than others, but the important thing is you gotta, when you're putting your house on the market, so you can, I'm talking to my sellers, if you when you're putting your house on the market, just got to make sure you price it right for the condition that the property is in. So if you work with your realtor and remember some of those essential things to attract buyers, then you should not have a hard time trying to find a buyer and get your house closed. But let's talk about average market time. So in Thornton Township, the average market time seems to be, let me take myself back out so you can look at me. You don't want to look at this. Yes, there we are. So the average market time for those communities that I just mentioned to you in Thornton Township is 82 days. Average listing to contract is 52, and average contract to close. So if you kind of do your averaging out, you're probably looking at a good 60 to 100 days for a seller who is looking at the amount of time that it's going to take to get their home sold in Thornton Township. For Bloom, and let me tell you the communities that exist that are a part of Bloom Township. That's Chicago Heights, Flossmoor, Ford Heights, Glenwood, Homewood, again the other half of Homewood, Lansing, Glenwood, Olympia Fields, Park Forest, Sauk Village, and South Chicago Heights. Now, the average, let me pull up for Bloom. So, if you see here, Bloom, you see again a consistent uh, trajectory. I have to say that word slow. Is continuously going up. So the markets are still pretty healthy in Bloom Township. Now, as far as the market time, still around it's less than Thornton. It's about 71 days. The average list to contract is 47 days, and the average contract to close 52. So again, give or take varying, you're looking at again 90 to 100 days in terms of someone who is looking to sell their property in the market area of Bloom Township. Now let's look at Bremen. Bremen, let me tell you, explain the towns that consist of Bremen. That is Country Club Hills, Hazel Crest, Markham, Oak Forest, Posen, Robbins, and Tinley Park. And the average um, medium price for those areas, and there again, you're looking at the average is about 175K. Of course, there are homes that are worth much more than that in some of those areas, but just giving you like an average market value. And the market time in that particular area is about 66 days, so it's a little less. Average listing to contract is about 40 days, and the average contract to close still hovering around 50 to 47 days. So again, anywhere between I wouldn't say 60, 90 to 100, maybe slightly over. You're still looking at 3, maybe 4 months from the time you list your property to close. Now let's look at Wheel, because these are all the areas that I service. So I want to, all right, there you go. Now, the average sales price, because you're talking about more stately homes out in Will County. So you're going to see a higher price, obviously. But Will consists of Crete, University Park, and Moni. And again, they did have a slight dip at some point. Maybe that was around, let's see, if that was December, that was probably around, it's hard to say it because it's not telling me, but we see that it was a little dip. And I just want to be clear that I'm giving you the right information. But right now, the trajectory is on its way up. So even though the homes out there in the areas that I just mentioned are a little higher, still the values are still consistently going up. Now, my last area is Calumet Township. Calumet Township, the average median price is about 117,000. Now, there's been a very small dip, but it's been steady since it took a dip. If you see, it's been steady. And so hopefully around spring shopping, which is, as a matter of fact, we're in spring shopping right now. The average market time is slightly higher. You're looking at about 80 days for the average market time. 51 days, still, it's still consistent with the other market areas. 51 days, and the average contract to close is about 50. Now, if I didn't mention, the areas that consist of Calumet Township is Riverdale, a north section of Riverdale, Calumet Park, and a Blue Island. So before I go into my next session, I in a couple of days, it'll be my birthday. And I thank God that I'm still here. So I'm going to spend this day just celebrating a little bit. So join me a little bit while I celebrate my birthday. But I am going to be featuring one of my lovely, dearest darlings. Her name is High Love. and she is, I mean, she she is beautiful. Her lyrics are just so empowering and enlightening and encouraging, and she's just a doll. So I'm going to feature her music today. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more than I normally do. So I'm going to take a break, and we're going to start having a, what do you call it? A little, let me find my little mouse here, because, I'm doing this on my own. I'm going to start my party a little early, and hopefully you can join me as I do. So I'll be right back, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that's been happening. Again, I can't share confidential stuff, but I can kind of just talk about some general things that I've been experiencing in the marketplace. So I'll be right back. Enjoy this cut.
See, I grew up in Chicago in the 90s, the 80s, the 90s, and we known for that soulful, that rugged feel, and that's what I'm gonna give you. That's what I'm gonna give you right here. Listen, y'all. I see it from afar. How the skyline traces through the clouds, and it makes me love you more. And I've been so many places, but nothing can compare to the feeling I get with the top down on Lakeshore Drive, and the wind blowing through my hair.
I think about you all the time, every night.
It's what I need. Chicago, come on.
Sunday, it's early
What I need.
and I'm needing you.
Come on. Where else could I be? It feels so nostalgically connected to memories. Nothing like a Southside girl. No, they used to meet us at the ring. I used to kick it. I used to kick it in Hyde Park, watching the guys break dance on 51st Street. And in Chicago, everybody fly. Gotta hustle on the side, like to keep a clean ride. Yeah, that's the vibe. Oh.
I think about you all the time, every night.
It's what I need. Chicago, come on.
Sunday, it's early
It's what I need.
and I'm needing you.
Come on.
All right. Happy birthday to me. My first birthday song. But listen, thank you for, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, her title of that her joint, her release is called Chicago or More. And so it's just so fitting with my show, because it's Windy City Live. So anyway, let's talk about some interesting things that happened with me the last I'd say 2 or 3 weeks. One, I don't know if I discussed this in the last show I had. I had a great loan officer. He came on the show, Richard Kimball, and we were just talking about different things about the mortgage industry, and he was so knowledgeable. And I thank God he came on and shared some things. I'm going to have him back because we're going to talk about some of the other programs that can help buyers get the financing that they need in order to get the home that they'd like to buy. But I had a situation with another mortgage company where it was important. One thing I tell you, when you're dealing with loan officers, it's so important that we all work together because we're not Hatfields and McCoys. We're working for the same goal, and that is to get our clients to the closing table. And so when you have different moving targets like the listing agent, the attorneys, the loan officers, the selling agent, and any other third party entities that's involved in this whole process, again, you got to keep the communication open because other people can't know all the confidential information, but they look for things to be moving forward. And so I had a situation, and it's crazy. I had a situation with a loan officer. It didn't come through me. So so my client brought the loan officer. And I kept calling this guy, calling him, because the listing agent wanted information that was timely. And this guy would never call. So I call, and I think I might have had a little bit of edge behind my voice. I'm not gonna say I didn't. And I apologize to him for that. But to make the long story short, cut to the chase, um, the guy actually had the nerve to tell me that with us going back and forth and trying to figure this out, it didn't matter to him if my client used his service. I got quiet. I'm like, oh, okay, this conversation is over with. So I politely went and told my client what happened. And of course, I was able to move the client somewhere else. But that was just, I don't care if you got money coming everywhere, every corner of the world, whatever. When you never, ever say anything like that, because if it's not for you, we wouldn't have a job. So, regardless, it is our job to serve. I mean, of course, we don't need to be disrespected. No one needs to be disrespected. But when you're serving the consumer, that's what you do. And when you're working as we do with a lot of entities, we've got to keep that line of communication. Yes, we do not provide confidential information, but the professional courtesy to one another is paramount. So that kind of, I'm like, oh, no, he didn't. So, but we got through that. And the other thing, folks, for those of you who are having home inspections done, let me say this, and any home inspector that wants to come on my show, I will gladly have you on. Matter of fact, hopefully somebody knows somebody that's a home inspector. But home inspectors, their job is to note what they see, everything they see. And then from that report, you look at it and decide what it is that you need to have done. Or is it something that you can do or requires a licensed, qualified professional? Do not assume that a home inspector, once he completes your inspection, you know exactly what's wrong with your house. They are very, very good at what they do, and they're going to tell you, and they might step out. And if they do, no one's looking, they may step out and say, this is what I see, blah, 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 blah. But whenever you get a home inspection and they're telling you to get a qualified professional for your structural, for electrical, for plumbing, for the foundation, for infestation and roofing, Please do not gloss over those concerns. I don't care if the inspector says to you, the home inspector says, you know what, I don't see that being a long period, a long extended problem. But if he has on that report, you see, I'm stressing this. If he has on that report, you need to get a qualified professional, then you need to sit down with your attorney and have those discussions and not just gloss over it. There are some states that you don't need an attorney, that realtors are kind of, I won't say playing that role, but you're leaning onto them for your advice. I still say, if you don't have an attorney involved because of the state you're in case somebody else is from another state where attorneys don't, you close an escrow and everybody goes home and everything's settled. But don't gloss those. If it's going to take you some time to have some inspectors in there to come in there and give you an idea what those costs will be, you will be glad you did that in the long run. So I'm going to stop squawking about that. And the last thing that happened, and I'm so glad because I did my job. Thank you. I did my job. But I had a client where the property didn't appraise out. And we kind of had that conversation going in. And so what happens is, if you are in a situation where your property does not appraise out, you can't be forced to pay more for the property unless you want to. Now, would I pay more for a property than what it's worth? No, I wouldn't. No, not in this economy that we're in right now, because everything is so volatile. And there's nothing worse than buying a home. And I talk about this all the time. It's nothing worse than buying a home and 30 days, 60 days later, you're underwater. And it could be just $5,000. That's still underwater is underwater. It has no dollar amount. Underwater is underwater. And so would I pay more for a house than what it's worth? If I swear, I would say something, but I don't. I'm not. No. So in a situation like that, you get on the phone and you contact your attorney, you let them know what's going on. So one or three things can happen. One, the first one I would never do, pay more for the house than what it's worth. The second thing, the parties have to renegotiate the contract. And whatever the appraised value is, that's what you get it for. Or you talk with your attorney and the contract is null and void. So those are the three things that were interesting that happened to me that I could share with you, and I can share with you. And if you are, or you know someone, those are the three things that I would do if a home is appraised out less than what you signed the contract for. So I told you I got some more. I'm continuing my party, and when I come back, we're gonna talk about some things that we as realtors don't do a good job explaining to you about an agency relationships and what that means and why you should know what you're signing, or the relationship that you have developed with your realtor. We need to start doing a better job as explaining what's going on. So when I come back, that's what we're going to start. So enjoy this joint by my girl, High Love. She is so nostalgic. You guys, if you like her music, I hope you do. Please, I'm going to post her link where you can get her release. It's $8.99, and I'm telling you, you'll love it. Okay, here's the next one. I'll be right back.
Do you know what's coming to you before it gets to you? Do Do you forecast scattered feelings, feel it changing winds? Do you know when the storm is hitting? Oh. Do you feel the warmth inside when you crack a smile? I know it's been a while, but a smile makes the coldest day bring the brightest sunshine, and it starts to feel like May. Oh, I see the changes. I see it all the time. I see the changes. I see it all the time. Do you know clear water? See the rocks at the bottom of you, at the bottom of your feet. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know why you saying no top, no bottom, catch a tan on a private beach? Oh, do you know the flip side of the coin? Shot down, honey, homicides in a way. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know how to dig, how to climb up, escape legally out of the streets? Oh, I see the changes. Said I see it all the time. Yes, I do. I see the changes. Said I see it all the time. You a soldier, you a hustler, you a gangster, you a boss, you a king, black man. Take a stand for the lost ones. You a beauty, you a beast, you a queen, you a boss, you a truth, you man's best friend. Take a stand for the lost ones. Take a stand. You a soldier, you a hustler, you a gangster, you a boss, you a king, like man. Take a stand for the lost ones. Take a stand. Take a stand. You a beauty, you a beast, you a queen, you a boss, you a truth, you man's best friend. Take a stand for the lost ones. Take a stand for the lost ones. Changes. Said I see it all the time. Yes, I do. Changes. Said I see it all the time. And I see it all the time. I feel it all around. Yeah. Changes. Whoa. Changes.
Oh man, what happened? It wasn't supposed to just come back that fast. That song wasn't supposed to just stop like that. Well, you know what? Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to. I must have hit something. And I didn't mean it. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. But again, that means is all the more reason. And I'm going to post the link to her where you can download her joints. So anyway, I'm back. So I said, as realtors, we do a bad job of explaining agency. And you, as the consumer, you guys need to really understand what happens once you pick up the phone or you text an agent because it's a property that you saw online or you saw it, you saw it and then the agent contacted you, and then the first thing you want to do is start telling them, hi, I like this house. And they get to grilling you, asking you all sorts of questions, and that so that you can be a little more educated with speaking with the realtor. This is the first thing that you need to do. If in fact you are working with another realtor, and that realtor has already sat down with you and talked about agency and what that means, and having you to sign the exclusive agency relationship, You don't want to start telling realtors your personal, other realtors, your personal information. I don't care what it is. It could be you need to move quick because you're having some issues with your landlord and you need to, and this house is perfect for you. And you're telling the listing agent, oh, by the way, I do have another realtor that I'm working with. Guess what you just did? You just could have potentially weakened your position because now you told that listing agent that you're desperate, that you'll pay whatever the seller is asking for, you know, because you just gave away too much personal information. So remember this: dual agent, I mean, not dual agency, but agency. You as the consumer get to choose who you want to work with, but you have to make sure that you understand that process. So when you're calling and you are just thumbing around and looking yourself, I would always, if you got a real estate agent, talk to your real estate agent before you start having conversations with the other agent, because that other agent is looking, if you end up writing a contract for that on that property, then that other agent got some of your personal information and then can use that to negotiate with you and get you to spend more for your property. So remember that. But a real estate agent should sit down, really give you an idea of what agency. And the first thing that you need to get, let me find that bad little fella right there. The first thing you need to get is your agent should sit down and go through with you the consumer guide of real estate agency. You need to understand what that means, how it works, um, what dual agency is, because oftentimes, I know I use that word all the time, oftentimes buyers think, well, you know what? If I go directly to that listing agent, I'm going to get a better price. And I'm not going to say you won't, and I won't say you will. But when you're in a dual agency relationship with a realtor, you got to understand they can't represent you to the fullest, because with dual agency, the only thing that they can do is, yes, they have to treat everybody honestly, but they can't say to you, Mr. Buyer, or even Mr. Seller, this is what I would pay for, or I wouldn't accept that, or you should try that, you should do this. And if you find yourself in a dual agency and those conversations are happening, that's a violation, because a dual agent, all they can do is do the statistical data, give that to you and say, okay, what do you want to do? And then to the seller, okay, seller, here you are. What do you want to do? That's what we're only supposed to do as a dual agent. So unless you want to not have a complete representation in any kind of negotiating process, because it's negotiating and making sure that you're getting whatever in the best interest of what you want. And for the seller, you know, because I'm not excluding you, you want to make sure you're getting the highest best offer. But that realtor cannot provide any confidential information, because what's confidential has to stay confidential. And can you kind of guys see how easily it is to trip out of that dual agency? I mean, trip out of being just a mediator, because that's what a realtor in essence is. So it's important that you understand what dual agency is and how that it really prevents you from getting the best representation for your position, either it be a buyer or a seller. And if an agent, and I'm not suggesting agents can't do it, because you can inform your client to the best of their ability on either side, but I'm going to tell you that's hard. That's why I don't do dual agency, but I'm not saying other agents don't do it, but I can't do dual agency because it's hard to serve two masters. And I don't care how somebody says, "Oh, I'm good at it." It is hard to serve two masters. And when you got to know the parties, you really want to give them the best relationship. And the only, I guess, if you're gonna say if it's a good time to do a dual agent, is you as the seller or the buyer, you guys know what you want, and all you want is just give me the piece of paper. I know what I want to do, because I don't need to hear, I don't need to hear your position as the a specialist. I already know what I want to do. But with most buyers, I can't, especially if you're doing it for the first time, it's really, really, really hard to not have some kind of representation. So, but I would say if you're okay with that, then before you start giving up your personal information, make sure the whoever you're talking to, the other realtor, that listen, I'm not giving you any personal information because I'm going to be negotiating my position. So tell me what the seller wants, and then I'll get back with you and tell you what I'm going to pay. And I don't need nothing else, but I know what I'm going to do. But if that's the case, you want to get something that's called, I think that's, what is it called? Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. That's not what I want. It's supposed to, oh, here it is. There it is. If you're okay with that, then you would do something that is called notice of no agency relationship. And if that's okay, and this is a form that can be also used, because we're not doing open houses right now. This is a form that would be typically used if you were going into an open house. You would go in, tell the realtor, listen, I have somebody I'm interested in, so we don't have to talk. I'm just coming in, looking at a property, and get back with you. The realtor may say, well, then I want to make sure you sign this, that if there's any conversation, we both understand there's no agency relationship here. But I'm telling you, we don't, as realtors, we really don't do a good job of explaining what agency relationships, because there are two ways as a buyer that you can have a relationship with a real estate agent. It's an exclusive relationship. And let's see, no, I don't have that, but I'm just going to tell you about, it's an exclusive right to service you. It's called an exclusive buyer's representation. And that means you work with me exclusively. If you see something, see anything, you'll contact me as your agent. I will work with you, and it'll be just you and I. And that's how that exclusive relationship is. And also in that relationship, there is a section that if you as the buyer, you want a house or piece of property, that it's a for sale by owner, and that for sale by owner saying, I'm not paying your commission to the real estate agent. If you want my house, you will have to do it out your real estate agent. Now, there's a quandary there, because you signed that you will, in the event that the agent is not compensated through the means of helping you get this property with a for sale by owner, then you're going to be on the hook at paying that commission. So again, you've got to understand what it is that you're signing, and be comfortable knowing that when you get into an exclusive relationship, then that's what you're saying. I am going to exclusively work with you as a real estate agent, and I'm not going to create, because a lot of times, sometimes buyers will sometimes create issues by going in and looking at a house and keeping everything to themselves, but just going in and not saying, didn't tell the agent that they're working with the buyer. I mean, working with the real estate agent. You go in and you like the house. And so now that realtor that you didn't disclose that you're working with a realtor, then they're going to want to try to claim you as as their buyer. Now, is that right? No, but by understanding what agency relationship is, you'll avoid those situations. And the last thing I want to say before we go out again on another break is you can have a non-exclusive relationship. And what that non-exclusive relationship is just says that, hey, I'll work with you if you help me find one. Great. If I find it on my own, I won't owe you anything. So you can have that kind of relationship. And, I would say they still owe you, the realtor still owes you a complete representation. But at the end of the day, they know that you can go out and find a house through someone else, Fizbo. So the logic behind that, how hard are they going to work for you? So that's just something that you need to keep in mind. But anyway, that's what I'm sharing on agency relationship. We're going to go back with another joint from High Love. Hopefully I don't screw this one up. And I'm sorry. That was a nice piece that I did the last time, but here we go. I'll be right back. Happy birthday to me. See you right back.
Just like candy, boy, you're so sweet. I ain't no doctor, but I know what I need. You got me high, we ain't smoke nothing. When I'm with you, I feel so free. It's like electricity move from my head to my feet. The connection is real. It's like it was dark and you're the light, and now I see. When I'm with you, here's how I feel. When I'm with you, here's how I feel. When I'm with you, here's how I feel. When I'm with you, is how I feel. I got nothing on you. Boy, you know that you're my truth, and I feel it for real. It's like meditation in a yoga class. I found my peace and this shit really lasts. It's like electricity move from my head to my feet. When I'm with you, here's how I feel. When I'm with you, is how I feel. When I'm with you, is how I feel. When I'm with you, it's how I feel. So safe in your presence, I feel like it's grace. I'm just so thankful that I feel this way. And I will never, 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 never give up and change. With you, my purpose makes sense now. And I will never, 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 never give up and change. And I hope you feel the same. 'Cause when I'm with you, it's how I feel. When I'm with you, it's how I feel. When I'm with you, it's how I feel. When I'm with you, it's how I feel.
Chi-town, Southside, ayy, high love, yeah.
All right. So I did that one right. But anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate the well wishes, and I just always try to bring some relevant information. And I'm going to do my best to bring some attorneys on. I like my daughter and I did a podcast. She was my very first guest, and she's a probate attorney. And unfortunately, with what's going on in the environment right now, there is a need. her service is just so needed. And then I have another attorney that I'm going to bring on that's going to talk about how you appeal your real estate taxes. And I believe he told me you can do it when you put a contract on a property. So I got to have him on here as well. So be looking for them in the near future. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about agency relationships for our sellers. Um, and what I'm seeing oftentimes, and I know I use that word oftentimes, but what I'm seeing is still, we're as realtors, we got to do a better job of telling our, well, not telling, but servicing our clients. When we list a property, that property isn't ours. We can't make the decision for the seller. The seller is the person that makes the decision for anything we do. I don't care if it's, should I put flowers on your table? You got to make sure you get the permission from your seller. Now, do we follow discriminatory practice? Do we follow illegal things? No. But our seller has the first say so and the last as it relates to serving our client. We can't, if we're upset with somebody or whatever, just taking it to that level, we do not have the right not to have our clients tell us what they want us to do. Case in point, once a contract is accepted by the seller, and we take the property, we put the property on contingency. Another agent calls and say, hey, I'd like to show the property. And then we as realtors, we say, well, see, that's what happens. I get excited and my hands touch stuff. And that's how that happened with that song. But anyway, we can't tell the realtor, no, no, there's a contract on the property. So the seller isn't showing it anymore. Nope, 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 nope. Can't do that. You're supposed to call your seller up and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's another agent on that would like to see your property. And would you like to still show? And the seller say, no, I don't want to show anymore. I'm okay. I'm good. Then that's when you go back and you say, no, Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, whoever you are, no, the seller does not want to do any more showings. Or now what's happening is a lot of realtors are not going in with their buyers to do the home inspection. And so the listing agent says, okay, you can come in to the property and do what you need to do. The seller will be there. But the seller may not. Well, first of all, the seller don't need to be there when a home inspection is being done by themselves. No, absolutely no, at least not on my watch, because that is the time that the seller is just going to just naturally want to see what's going on and follow. And when comments are made, things may come out that now the buyer is saying, okay, you said you were going to fix this, and now something may be that regardless, you don't need to be there by yourself with the buyer and the home inspector. You need to have either, in my opinion, in my service, you need to have the selling agent there while it's being done. Now, if the selling agent does not want to do that, it's still not my call to say, okay, Mr. Seller, the seller is not going to, the agent does not want to come to the listing. No, 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 no. Mr. Seller, the listing agent is stating that they're not coming. Well, the selling agent, I don't want to be confused. The selling agent said they're not coming. So how do you feel about that? No, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm on the phone right away calling the selling agent. Seller's not comfortable. So you're going to have to be there at the home inspection. And will I do that? Yes, I'll do that. Realtors, if anybody is listening, we got to do a better job serving our clients. And I'm saying it passionately because we have a lot of competition out here. It People can pick up their computer, their laptop, their phone. There's services out here that they can easily go to. It's not that hard. It's important that we understand our value, and we just can't, okay, we're just going to, just kind of systematically just follow things through and don't have to be involved in the transaction. No. So sellers, when you decide you want to work with a realtor, and I say realtor because you notice I stress the realtor, because there are real estate agents that aren't realtors, and the difference is a realtor has a higher standard that they have to serve you by, and if we're not doing that, then you can, unfortunately, and I hate to put this out there, but you can have something in place to make a complaint about us. So all I'm saying is, if there's realtors are listening, we got to do a better job, guys. And before I want to play another song, because my hour is picking up on me, I want to play another song, and I'll be back and I'll calm down. As you see, I'm very passionate about this, but I'll be right back to finish off with some of the things I want my sellers to think about when they're doing business with us. So I'll be right back.
Wherever you may go, the white dove will follow, and peace will be the way. It won't let you go astray, although the road is narrow, even when it's not in view. Just remind yourself the truth, that the dove will come again to show it found land, and the olive branch is proof. Yes, the olive branch is proof. Now there goes your peace. Now you can breathe, knowing you're safe, 'cause this is the way to land, says the dove with the olive branch. No such thing as enemies. We let go of pride and greed, and we let the white dove take the lead. And we never go without, and we get everything we need. And sometimes we lose our way, but that's okay, 'cause although the road is narrow, even when it's not in view, just remind yourself the truth, that the dove will come again to show it found land, and the olive branch is proof. Yes, the olive branch is proof. Now there goes your peace. Now there goes your peace. Now you can breathe. You can breathe. You can breathe. Ooh, knowing you're safe, 'cause this is the way to land, says the dove. Oh, olive branch.
You know what? it's funny that this keeps cutting off. I didn't do anything. I don't know what's going on, but yes, I calmed down, as you could tell in that last segment there. I was really passionate, but just on the real tip, we as real estate agents, we just got to do a better job of doing our job of servicing our clients. I do want to say there was one thing that I didn't mention with my sellers, my sellers hope to be my seller, because hey, today is a good day to call your realtor. I didn't put any information about me, and I'm going to do that. But today is a good day to call your realtor, and I'm gonna flash my information up there. But what I didn't mention is there are several forms of representation that we can have with our sellers. We can do the exclusive, which we're exclusively representing you and making sure that we're, taking care of you, marketing and doing all those things that will help you to find your buyer. Or we could do, or you could do a non-exclusive agency relationship, and that simply means that you are saying to me as an agent, an agency, that I will work with you. However, if I find my own buyer, I don't owe you a red cent. Now, you can do that. Typically, for sale by owners will do that because they want to try to save money. I mean, everybody's trying to save money. I get it. So that's what a non-agency. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. A non-agency agreement. Make sure I'm saying the right thing because I can get my tongue tied quite a bit when I'm doing some things here. But the correct word, as you see, I don't use these all the time. it's called it's called a residential exclusive agency marketing agreement. That means if you find the buyer on your own, you owe no commission. But what you need to know is if you find the buyer on your own, you got to let your realtor know, okay, the name of the person, because you just want to make sure that that buyer didn't come through the assistance of your realtor doing all that crazy marketing for you. Now, the third way you can list your property, which is becoming pretty regular now, it's called a private listing. A private listing will allow you to not would allow you to market, but you just aren't in the social arena that you normally would get if you were listing it with the MLS. It would be on what is called a private listing. You would not get you would not be on the MLS. The only way that the agent will know if there is a for sale sign that says coming soon. And so what people use that for is if they've got some things, or sellers use that for is if they've got some things they need to do to the house, but they want to get a jump on marketing, at least getting somebody interested in the property while they're trying to get it ready. So, but also too, agents might use the private listing to try to do a dual agency. But the only way I would just say is if an agent is doing that, you just want to make sure they're having those kinds of conversations with you, because if you're under the impression that the private listing is to help you get the house ready, and then once you're ready to put it on the market, then that's where it goes. But if an agent has another ideal, you want to know too. You want to have those open conversations. So with that said, I'm at my hour. So I want to share that I have an app and a website. So, there it is. It's posted up there. I have an app and a website. So if you would like to just download me to your telephone, download me on your telephone, you will have, all you got to do is you don't have to pay anything. I know, because when I first was trying to get the app, like, okay, what you going to charge? I'm not charging anything. I just want people to download my app so it can be a reference for you as it relates to real estate, because I try to do my best to post a lot of relevant information. And once you sign up, you will have access to all that information, and any new stuff that I upload, you'll have it at the tip of your touch of your phone. So please download my app and share it with others. Please share the show with others. I hope that this was very informative. Happy birthday to me in a couple of days. Be safe out there. That last song that I cut, I just wanted to say, it's some really uncertain times now, but just not, don't stop watching the television. Stop getting yourself all worked up, and don't be influenced or affected by things that are going outside that you have no control over. You can only control this. So anyway, thank you for listening. Everybody be safe out there. I'll see you next week. Please share me. Tell some of your friends, hey, look, you don't have to use me. Even if you don't use me, that's okay. I've been doing this. Like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I should know something. And I'm learning new stuff all the time. So, and I want to always stay informed. So if I can help you, even if you don't use me, that's okay too. So with that said, everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope to see you next week. Share me and take care and peace.
You know, when you're an underdog, everybody wanna pull you down when you're climbing up out the barrel. Yeah. Holla. Tell them about the underdog.
I've been at the bottom of the barrel. Every day I've been getting ahead though. They don't want an underdog to win, no. But I never take my foot off the pedal. I just got some things to leave in the dust, and it includes anybody that I can't seem to trust. Come ride with an underdog. That's right. Come ride with an underdog. Underdog. That's right. Come ride with an underdog. That's right. My pulse is full of third now. Been climbing through the high clouds. They want an underdog to fall down. No. But my soul stay planted on the ground. Oh, 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 oh. I'm on the gas, but it ain't no rush. I just got some things to leave in the dust, and it includes anybody that I can't seem to trust. With an underdog. That's right. Come ride with an underdog. That's right. Come ride with an underdog. That's right. Come ride with an underdog. That's right. Ride with an underdog.